So, it's like when, I guess, you think about when a team wins a playoff game, they celebrate that one night, and then you get ready for the next opponent. So that's what I would imagine we're going to hear from Mission Control. Yeah, they're excited, but they all know that the mission isn't over. Now they've got to get ready for these big 2 missions in the next couple of years.
And right now you can see all 4 crew members, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen, right there on the USS John P. Murtha. They are taking their pictures, essentially capturing the moment that wowed an entire world. Nick, the astronauts' families are there. Explain what they might be doing and feeling right now.
Well, they've been in Mission Control. They're watching from the viewing gallery. It's like a theater behind Mission Control, and they've been sitting in there watching on the big screens everything go down with their loved ones. And after being in Mission Control, I imagine they'll return home for the night, and one more night without their astronaut loved ones, as they're going to be returning back to Houston at some point tomorrow. From what we're hearing, it may be afternoon, early evening, when the astronauts return back to Houston. But certainly there was some angst on them as they're watching in the gallery, but now a lot of excitement. And it was great when we saw those astronauts get pulled off of the Orion spacecraft. You could hear the cheers from Mission Control, and I was watching on the screen, and you could see the gallery behind them. They're all getting into it as well, and that's where the families were. So you sure bet they are thrilled and ecstatic, and I'm sure they can't wait to talk to them on the phone, maybe do some video chats as well as they reconnect with them now that they're here back on Earth.
You know, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman is there on the Navy ship. He is hugging and consulting with those 4 Artemis II crew members, making sure they're okay. Nick, can you explain to us what comes next post-landing in Mission Control?
Yeah, so what you're seeing now is they're being brought back to that Navy ship, and they're going to be checked out in a medical unit there on the ship. Then they're going to be brought back to San Diego. And at that point, NASA has a number of studies that they're going to put them through. So they're going to be checking for looking at their bodies to see how deep space has impacted them. So they're going to put them through some obstacle courses, even where they're going to check their balance to see how well that is going, because even though it was just 10 days, from what we've been told from NASA scientists, is that they still become disoriented for a few days. So they do these balance tests to see how they're doing. So it's not just how they're doing physically, make sure that medically everything's all right, but they're trying to get them so that way they can walk and move well, because it's going to be a difficult couple of days. Then after that's done, they're going to eventually board a plane and come right here to Houston. Now they're going to come to Ellington Airport. So if you've flown to Houston before, you probably know Bush or Hobby are the 2 main airports, but NASA uses Ellington, which is only about 10 miles or so from the Johnson Space Center. And when they land, we're told that you're going to have a number of NASA employees there, but also the astronauts' families. As I mentioned, they're not in California. Their loved ones are right here in Houston, and we're told that they're going to be at Ellington when they get here tomorrow, and I'm sure that's going to be a sight that everyone's going to want to see, Ike.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And right now you are watching Christina Cook walking across that deck there on the USS Murtha, and she's going right now to the medical deck to be checked out, make sure that everything is okay. We're going to right now to ABC News' Trevor Ault. He's at that watch party at the Air and Space Museum in San Diego. Trevor, you have a front row seat to witnessing history. You're seeing right now those Artemis crew members safe and sound on solid ground on that USS John P. Murtha. They are coming out, taking pictures, waving, donning massive smiles on their faces. Victor Glover himself is about to walk across the ship now that we're watching. What's the mood there where you are?
Well, I can tell you that it continues to be a crowd here. They've actually kept the museum open past closing time. They said they were going to shut this down about 15 minutes ago, and they've kept it open because they continue to watch this feed. And every single time one of these astronauts stands up and has walked across, there is another cheer. And interestingly, the more the night has gone on, the more we have discovered, Ike, that, of course, people in general are cheering for the success of this mission, but there are also many people with personal ties. I mentioned family here where their grandparents worked for NASA. Actually, this man behind me clapping. So he's clapping as Victor Glover's walking across because he is Victor Glover's fraternity brother. He's here with his daughters. They're telling me facts about what they've been eating as they've been up in space. And so they alone, he's watching a guy who he grew up with as he's watching the success. But of course, you don't have to have these personal ties to feel profoundly impacted by everything that what we have seen today. The countless family members, people holding their children, their grandparents with their grandchildren, and each and every one of every age, openly moved, openly cheering and celebrating what this accomplishment has achieved. And something that so many people have not seen in so many years, if at all. We saw that at the museum, and they knew from the beginning this was going to be a very special day, that this was a much larger crowd that they have had going back decades. So here they also were seeing something that they'd never seen before, because every single person knew how important it was to take in everything that we were seeing. You hear the crowd continuing to rise up once again. That has continued to happen nonstop, every single checkpoint, from the re-entry to reestablishing communications, to the beacon being lit up, to the hatch opening, every single astronaut getting off of Integrity, every single one getting onto the helicopter, getting off of the helicopter. They are profoundly grateful for the health and safety of all of these astronauts and what they have done. And of course, we know that that inspiration is going to carry over. So many people just here in San Diego, not too far from where they are on that aircraft carrier. But this is something that has moved people all across America.
All right, Trevor, thank you so much. And on your screen, you saw Commander Reed Weissman, the last member of the Artemis II crew, walk across that ship. And he's getting into the medical bay. Joining us now is astrophysicist Asa Stahl. Thank you so much for being here tonight through all of this and through this incredible, magnificent day. And like I said, this 10-day mission, it was incredible for these astronauts, Asa. What do you think is going through their minds and hearts right now?
It's almost hard to imagine. This is such a singular experience. I imagine it's some sort of mix of euphoria and honestly maybe a little bit of nausea, because that was quite the ride that they had, and they have a lot of readjusting to do to Earth's gravity. But I mean, these people just forged such a bond with each other. They seem like family up there. And so I think that they know that they're the eyes of millions of people on them, looking to them as sources